Welcome to Covenant Conversations. My name is Kyle Burkholder, and today my guest on the podcast is Ken Horst. Ken is an ICU nurse. Ken is a certified nutrition coach. He's a drummer on our worship team at Covenant Church, and he is here to educate. What we are going to do is essentially just have a wide-ranging conversation on all things nutrition. Everything you ever wanted to know about calories or diets or the fads and trends that you may be seeing on social media. What do we make of them? How do we think about them? And how do we make better choices towards better health for the days to come? So I think you're going to enjoy this. There's a lot in here. So if you're one of those people who takes notes, grab your pad, grab your pen, and get ready for Ken Horst as we get into today's conversation. Welcome to today's Covenant Conversations. My name is Kyle Burkholder, and I am joined today by Ken Horst. Ken is, I know him as the drummer at church. He's one of those guys where you're like, who is that drumming in that cage back there, that glass box of emotion? That's him, amongst a couple others. But Ken, why don't you tell us more about yourself? Because today we're going to be talking about nutrition, and it's going to get interesting. So who are you? How long have you been around Bowling Green? And why are you the guy that we're listening to on nutrition?
Hey guys, thanks for having me, Kyle. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. But nutrition's been one of my passions for a long time. I first started my career in massage therapy. I did that for a little while because I've always been just enthralled with the human body, how it works, the pathophysiology, just how God could design such a complex structure. And just seeing his evidence all over the human body. It's been just a passion of mine for a long time. So I started massage therapy. That didn't really work out. So I went to nursing school, and I've been a nurse for 15 years. And as you can imagine, we see a lot of disease. We see a lot of illness. And a lot of that stems from poor nutrition. So a lot of what nurses deal with is, good nutrition. Like we educate folks on, why they're feeling what they're feeling. Why are they in the hospital? Why do they have high blood pressure? Why do they have diabetes? And a lot of it stems from nutrition. So a while back, I started running. I got really into running and nutrition just for my own health. Because at one point in my own life, I was 263 pounds. So I'm 6'4". I made it to 263 pounds. That was documented in one of my doctor's office visits. And a friend of mine kind of called me out a little bit. I was like, man, I hide this well. And he's like, no, you don't. So that kind of made me introspect a little bit. I actually got into a healthcare job because this was a long time ago. This was back before nursing. I got into, I was a health aide at a nursing home and just taking care of patients and realizing that, overweight, obese people were just harder to take care of. It hurting my back, and I had worked with several nurses that had hurt their backs, and it was just harder to take care of folks in that condition. So a little bit of my own, God convicted me when I got to that size. And so I got to do something about this. So started running, lost a few pounds, got that momentum going, did a lot of reading on nutrition, took a nutrition course in like a specific outside of nursing nutrition course in college. And then eventually my own journey, I got down to 175 pounds ish. I'm at 190 right now, but just over the course of a decade or more, just reading book after book after book. What's the keto diet? What's this about paleo diet? What's Atkins? What's low protein? What's low carb? What does it all mean? How does it all fit into what does it mean for me and my own health and how I feel, how I function? How does it affect my running? It was a long journey. And then about 2 years ago, Krista, my wife, I think it was actually 3 years ago now, she took a personal trainer course. She's ISSA certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. And at that point, she did it she had it for about a year, and was like, you know what, I'm going to do that too. So I actually got certified as a personal trainer and nutrition coach as well through ISSA. Just another layer of just expertise that I could use both in my own journey, but for my kids, for my patients, just that extra bit of information that I could try to use to help people, not only myself, but help other people along their way in this crazy, vast landscape of nutrition.
Is that, yeah. Okay. So if we heard anything, you know what you're talking about. You got a lot of experience in this. You work with this every day. You not only have the certifications, but then on the health side, you've seen it from that angle too.
Yeah.
So let me give a disclaimer and a qualifier because we're about to get into it. Ken's got expertise, but he is not your nutritionist. He is not offering any medical advice. As much as we're trying to have a conversation that resets the foundation of nutritional wisdom, maybe. So if you listen to us talk and you go vegan or you go paleo, you only eat purple foods as a result of this podcast, and that doesn't go well for you, do not email us. We didn't tell you to do anything. What we are going to do is tell you to pay attention because he's got the wisdom. I want to get it out of him. So what we're going to do is play a game called Two Truths and a Lie. Maybe you played this in middle school youth group. I don't know. But what I've asked Ken to bring, and I'm curious to see where we go, is as he is a vast food landscape. There's so much out there. Should I do processed? Should I do this? Should I do that? Okay. So we're going to go to two big truths, and there's some strings to pull that's going to lead us to a lot in there. And then what's a big lie? What we're going to try to do is reset around those things. So Ken, if you would, what is the first truth that we're going to get into with nutrition?
Yeah. So here we go. The first truth that we had, sorry, I didn't know you were going to ask me that question. I had it pulled up. You got it pulled up?
I mean, it looks like, so I don't have anything beyond the main thing. I think you're going to tell me that calories in and calories out is still a thing.
Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry, man. Yes, so calories in, calories out is, yes, definitely it holds true when it comes to weight. So if you are overweight and you're trying to lose weight, you need to eat less than you burn. So consuming less of what you burn. If you're trying to gain weight, then you want to consume more than what you burn. So if you're if you're skinny, or if you're trying to gain muscle and you're trying to bulk up for the football season or whatever, and you burn, let's say you burn 2,000 calories a day just existing, then you need to eat 2,500 calories or 2,600 calories. And if you want to gain muscle, that needs to be protein. So you need to eat more than what you burn. If you're trying to lose weight, which is the bulk of what people in the nutrition landscape are trying to do, they're trying to lose weight. Let's say you burn 2,000 calories a day. You have to eat less than that. You have to eat 1,800, 1,500, depends on how fast you want to lose that weight, for how long you want to lose that weight. And you have to know how much you're burning and how much you're eating. So calories in and calories out for weight is always, always, always going to hold true. Now, you can get into different aspects of it, like hormones and processed versus not processed, organic versus non-organic. Those kinds of ideas is more tailored to how you feel.
So that's a good one, because people are going to stop. I had this argument with somebody like a decade ago, and they were like, they were convinced. And so this is a side, let me take a little side alley off the main street you're on. They would say all calories are the same. So if I eat nothing but ice cream, but I eat 1,800 calories of ice cream on my 2,000 calorie burning life, I should lose weight because I'm my calories. And I'm not a nutrition scientist. I'm not an expert in these things. I don't have certification, but that doesn't seem right to me. Are all calories the same when it comes to this sort of math we're doing, or calories function different and our bodies are complex? Like where's the truth in all that?
So yeah, my personal outlook on this is you could eat 1,800 calories worth of ice cream or McDonald's or whatever. If you're burning 2,000, 22,000 or 2,200 calories per day and you're eating less than that, you're going to lose weight. But like you said, you're going to feel crummy doing it because your body still needs vitamins. It still needs minerals. It still needs, good fats and good proteins. And if you're consuming just a bunch of one ultra processed thing, you're going to feel terrible. And over the course of time, there are going to be deficiencies. You're going to have deficiencies in vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin C, if you're only eating one thing. So when it comes to overall health, calories in, calories out is kind of a blanket term that doesn't super fit. But if you're talking just weight, it's the end all be all for the most. Like you have to burn more calories than you're consuming in order to lose weight.
This matters too, because so we're not necessarily doing a weight loss podcast, but let's say that's somebody's goal. You would say, hey, don't eat this, eat that. What's going to leave you more satisfied longer? What foods are like glycemic index? There's all these other concepts and terms in there that determine whether you're getting good calories in or the right calories in. Like you're saying, I mean, let's do it this way. I'm in my mid 40s. Let's say I just joined the high school wrestling team. They found a loophole and I'm in. Okay, so one week I need to gain to make the weight class, and then 1 week I need to cut weight to make a lower weight class. I'm trying to wrestle children and I need to be bigger than them. In that world, it is a calories in, calories out thing, but there are going to be some really specific, you would tailor it to those sorts of things: muscle, endurance, satiety. Like, what are the things you're thinking about for someone my age as I'm thinking about how to do something like that?
Okay, so if you're trying to gain weight in a good and healthy way as a 40-year-old, you're what, not even going to guess.
I wouldn't guess. This is going to get weird. Let's call it, we'll ballpark 5'10", 175.
5'10", 175. Okay, so if you want to gain weight, let's say ballpark your total daily, they call it a total daily energy expenditure. Is 2,000, we'll just call it 2,000 calories. That should be about right.
Sure.
So you have to realize that you have a basal metabolic rate, just what you burn in calories just existing, because even as you sleep, your heart's still beating, your muscles are still moving when you move.
Because calories breathing, are energy. It's just a unit of energy, right?
Right. Calories are just a unit of energy. That's all a calorie is. It's fuel, essentially. Okay. So you have to understand what your body's burning, just existing, and then how much you're expending doing things. So your BMR, what you're burning all the time, just existing, and then your extra stuff, like walking around if you exercise, or if you've got a really active job. Are you burning, an extra 600 calories going for a run? So if you burn 1,500 calories just existing, and then you go for a 3-mile run and you burn an additional 600 to 800, that's 2,100 to 2,300 calories. And if you want to gain weight, you have to know that number, know how much fuel that you're burning and how much food you need to consume. And so you have to, when you're eating, know how much food, how many calories are in that food in order to gain that weight. So over the course of the week, every day you're burning 2,200 calories. You need to consume 2,400 to 2,600 calories to really burn, or to really gain that weight that week. And then subsequently the next week, if you wanted to, by the end of the week, lose a pound, because weight loss is very slow, so is weight gain. But the next week, if you would want to lose that weight, you'd have to, if you're 2200, even with your exercise and everything burned in, you have to eat 1600 calories and have to know what those are in order to lose that weight. So week to week, that's not a really great analogy. We're talking, if you want to lose pounds, it's usually a half a pound is great. If you're losing about a half a pound a week, that's a great goal. That's for long-term sustainability. A half a pound a week is what's recommended. Pound a week is aggressive. 2 pounds a week, and that's considered like really top of the line of what you can really do long-term safely. Now, you can lose weight very, very quickly if you just stop eating. You're going to lose weight, but it's going to be in an unhealthy manner. So if your goal is to lose 20 pounds or to gain 20 pounds, you need to give yourself about 20 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched an episode or two of the Biggest Loser documentary that was on wherever it was. And just how generally, I mean, you get a sense for it watching the show, but you're like, this is an unhealthy way to lose weight. These people are dropping 17, 23 pounds a week. You're like, I don't know if this is sustainable. So this kind of leads us to your second truth, and I'll set it up in this way. So we just got through the New Year's, so I don't know when people are going to listen to this or find this, but there's always this impulse to find a new diet or start a new thing, and then in the world of social media, there are no shortage of diets and tricks and hacks and fads and trends. And so what you told me heading into this was the second truth you wanted to give us is that everyone's on a diet. And to sort of let's demystify diet. So talk me through dieting, and all that. Let's get to that first, then maybe we'll hit the trends in a bit. But what is everyone is on a diet? Tell me what that means and why that's true.
Yeah. So everybody is consuming food. You have to consume food because it's the fuel that keeps us alive, right? So people will, that's a diet, but people get this weird connotation with the word diet because they affiliate it with the fad diets or the crash diets or these specialized diets that are, can be pretty hard. But the truth is you have to consume something. I myself say I'm on a seafood diet. I see food and I eat it. That's a bad dad joke, but I love it.
Good dad, bad joke. Let me clarify for you. But go ahead.
But so really, yes, you do need to demystify that word diet because you're always eating something. So that is your diet. When you hear a documentary on elephants, the guy is going to talk about their diet. What makes the elephant's diet? What does their diet consist of? That's the same thing for humans. What does our diet consist of? What do we consume? So we can get into the crash diets and the fad diets, and there's a billion things that you can look up on TikTok and you can look up on Instagram, and what this influencer is telling you to do, what this talking head is telling you to do, and it gets hairy pretty quick.
Why do you think that is? Is it because we are, I mean, my working theory is that we're ill-informed and lacking information. We take whatever the newest information is that's thrown at us in a like a glitzy sort of way. We see someone online that looks the way we want to look and we go, well, I mean, I'll do what they're doing. Is it that, I mean, do you think that information is sort of our, the chasm we have to cross to like know what it is we're doing? Or is there something else in us, do you think, that is chasing the fad when, Michael Pollan, was it he who said, eat food, mostly plants? That was like his big diet advice was eat food, mostly plants.
The Omnivore's Dilemma, great book.
Yeah. And so what is it that we're missing that leads us, before we get into the shortcuts and what's that and what does it mean? Why in the first place do we even think about it, and why are we buying into this stuff?
Personally, I believe that the both the problem and the great thing about these diets is they work, usually for a short period of time. Most of them are about calorie deficit and about eating clean food. And when somebody changes their diet from a mostly processed excess diet and they change it to clean foods and they're in a calorie deficit, they're going to feel great and they're going to lose some weight. They're going to feel better. And most of these diets start that way, but a lot of them are very strict. And so they're hard to adhere to. But the great thing about the body is we can adapt. The body, like I've said earlier, God has designed this body perfectly, and we can adapt to so many different environments. We can adapt to a carnivore only diet. We can adapt to a keto only diet. We can adapt to a high carb diet. Our body is so resilient, and it uses this fuel that we give it in many different ways. And so there is a billion ways to do good nutrition, which is both a blessing and a curse, because there's also a billion ways to do it wrong, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's in one sense encouraging, because it feels like I don't have to follow the strict guideline of do it this way or else. So that feels like freedom, but it also feels discouraging, because sometimes when we're not good at stuff, we're not informed with stuff. I mean, it's why we teach children differently than we teach adults, or a Sunday school class for kids is different than a Bible study for adults. Is you kind of have to give rules so that the person who doesn't know much yet can follow the simple rules in order to start learning what it is they need to know. And in that sense, it's like, I mean, there's micro greens and macronutrients, and there's there's just like, you could go through everything. You go, I don't know where to start. And then on top of that, the challenge that we all face is that we're all physiologically so different. And so I'm lactose intolerant. And so that's going to drive.
I eat gluten-free.
Right. You eat gluten-free. My wife has diverticular issues, like diverticular disease. And so there's certain seeds, nuts, corn, there's certain things she can't eat. And then we have another one who can't eat this other thing. And so you get down to it. And then there's histamines in food, and I didn't even know I thought that was something you took a Benadryl for, but apparently it's in tomato sauce too. And so as you get through all of the nutritional nuances, and everybody is different, it really is a choose your own adventure, which can feel overwhelming.
Exactly.
And so is there a base, like, direction? Someone walks in your office and goes, I don't even know where to start. Where do you start?
The base understanding of food is where you start. You have to understand what food consists of, right? You have to understand what you're consuming. So all food is based on macronutrients and micronutrients. Okay. Macronutrients are the nutrients that have that fuel in them: protein, carbohydrates, and fat.
And this is what, when I see online someone's talking about, I didn't get my macros today, this is what they're talking about?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And you said protein. Say it again.
Protein, carbohydrates, and fat.
Okay, what do these do? These are the fuel?
These are the fuel. So protein and carbohydrates, both per gram. So if you weigh out 10 grams of chicken, which is protein, you're going to have 4 calories per gram. So in 10 grams of chicken, you're going to have 40 calories. In carbohydrates, if you measure out 10 grams of rice, you're going to have 40 grams of carbohydrates. And then fat, actually per gram, is 9 calories. That's why high fat things are also very high in calories, because they provide more fuel. They're more concentrated in that gram of substance. So these things is what makes up the calories and the fuel that our body then breaks down in various very complicated ways that we won't get into, because that's a whole like nutrition science class. Okay. But micronutrients are things that do not provide calories. They're things like vitamins, minerals. So like your vitamin A, your vitamin C, your vitamin K, zinc, iron, and magnesium. And these are all things that you get from food that doesn't provide any type of fuel for your body, but they do help your body function better. So the way I usually tell my patients kind of the difference between the two is an analogy of a car. So a car has a gas tank, fuel. It burns gas, it burns fuel, and it uses oil to keep the engine running smoothly, to keep the temperature down and things like that, and radiator fluid and all these other fluid that help the engine run smoothly, but doesn't contribute to the power making the engine go forward, making the car go forward. So your macronutrients are like the gas, the stuff that your body burns for fuel to make your body go. And the micronutrients are things like the radiator fluid or in the oil that helps the body just run smoothly. So if you, like we mentioned earlier, if you're just eating ice cream, you're not getting a lot of the micronutrients that help your body run smoothly. That would be like trying to run an engine just on radiator fluid. Like you're just gonna like antifreeze. You're just gonna pour that in the engine. You're gonna pour it in the power washing fluid. You're gonna pour it in the transmission. You're gonna pour it all. It'll run.
It sounds interesting,
but it's gonna run poorly.
Yeah.
So over time, right? You'll turn it on. It'll burn the fuel, but everything else is gonna burn up quicker, and things are gonna start to fail. So you need to have those macronutrients and calories to power your engine, but you also need to have good oil and good radiator fluid and good transmission fluid and good food that has those nutrients, the vitamins and the minerals to help your body run efficiently and for you to feel well.
Okay. That's super helpful. I mean, so far that's the thing. If I could cut it and hand that to everybody, I think that is shockingly maybe one of the more misunderstood things. Is just going what actually matters and what category should I put it in as the macros and the micros. So that's super helpful. Then what we do with that is, I think I'm more the student of psychology and sociology. That's sort of my job, is like what are people doing with stuff and how does the Bible tell us to do something different? And so I'm always studying behavior, and it's interesting to me to look at kind of like societal trends. And the societal trend for us is not different than it's been. There's always been the 80s, it was Weight Watchers, or, there's always a new thing. Exercise wise, it was jazzercise, and now it's something else. And so there's always something that's new. The pace of those new things, though, with TikTok and with social media has increased exponentially. And because your algorithm is different than my algorithm, it knows who you are and what you like and can feed you something you're more likely to pay attention to.
Right.
And so on some level, I feel like more people than ever are trying more different fads, trends, and whatever, these diet concepts. And what we're all collectively believing, whether we want to admit it or not, if we're not careful, is that there is a shortcut to nutrition. I saw it on TikTok, and here's the shortcut. And I'm biohacking, and I'm doing all these things to get myself to a better place in a new way. And if we were playing two truths and a lie, you would tell me that's the lie. That was when you were like, the lie is that there's a shortcut. Why is that the lie? Because I really want to believe that this 19-second video I saw will lead me to nutrition nirvana. So why is that the lie?
So we had kind of mentioned it earlier that changing your diet is going to produce a pretty quick result, usually because we're going from a high calorie, high fat, highly processed diet to something that is whole foods and in a calorie deficit. And the truth, the lie is that there's only one way to do it, that this way is the best way. Like keto is the best way. Carnivore is the best way. That's the lie. The truth is you can do well on almost any diet as long as you find the right one for you, which is a very complicated statement there. Because it takes trial and error. And it takes time and effort. So I mentioned earlier, I'm gluten-free. So I've been on several different diets throughout the years. And gluten-free is the one that I landed on. I used to struggle with headaches, and I used to get aphthous ulcers, also known as canker sores, in my mouth all the time. And I did a program called Whole30 where we eliminated a bunch of different food groups: sugar, alcohol, dairy, grains, and legumes. I eliminated those for 30 days. That's why it's called Whole30.
Yeah, we got friends do this. It's just meat. It's essentially meat and vegetable with some fruit mixed in, but it's meat and vegetable for a month.
Essentially, yeah, with light fruit and some nuts for the fats and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you add things back on and see how your body tolerates them. So in that month, my headaches went away, and I got back on all the other stuff, and my headaches came back. So then I went another 30 days without grains, felt great, brought them back, headaches came back. So then I dedicated 3 months to doing no grains, and felt great. Just had a beer, just a couple, but it headache immediately. Like, I was out with my buddies and we were golfing and we had a couple beers, and after being gluten-free for 3 months, it wrecked. My head was pounding. So I've avoided gluten since then. And I have a buddy who's on keto. He's tried paleo, he's tried Mediterranean, and he has been keto now for I think 7 years or something like that. So it takes trial, it takes effort, it takes it takes introspection, it takes data. Like, you have to really understand how you feel, how you're sleeping, how you're exercising, how's your focus. Making these changes along the way helps you feel better, and you can change up your diet. You can change up which diet you're on as well. So if you wanted to try, like, for example, if you wanted to try keto for weight loss, okay, what I would recommend, and what the general consensus on the nutrition landscape is, you try it for 3 months, 90 days, and you try it and see how you feel. And then if you feel great, and if you're doing it for medical reasons, you have to do it with a doctor, monitoring you. That's
you're getting labs drawn, you're checking all this stuff. Yeah.
You're checking your cholesterol, you're checking your HDLs, you're checking your LDLs. You're checking lab markers when you're losing weight for medical reasons, like if you've got diabetes or liver disease or anything like that. Doing it under the guidance of a doctor or nutritionist is the best way to do things. Getting labs checked before, and then 90 days later, getting them checked after, or 6 months later, right? You're probably going to feel, if you stick to it, you're going to feel better. You're going to do well, but that doesn't mean you have to stay with that. And I think that is what the lie is you have to do that one thing that influencer is telling you to do. You have to do that one thing that this guy who's selling you the olive oil with vitamins infused in it. You have to do this one supplement that's going to make you feel better. That's the lie. The truth is, you have to really try really hard and give yourself grace, and really apply yourself to talking to your doctor frequently, talking to your nutritionist or your nutrition coach, or just really, what I did was, I took 5 to 6 years and really just dug into every book that I could find to really find that one thing that worked for me. And other than the gluten-free thing, which I'm not really convinced that I need to be gluten-free. That's just how I feel right now. I hope eventually that I will add back gluten in a way like that's more whole food, instead of going to Walmart and buying just wheat bread and just consuming that. I want to buy whole grains, whole wheat grains, mill them myself, or process them myself, do my own, bread, and see if I can maybe, if it's not the gluten that's the problem, it's the processing that's the problem, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's trial and error.
And you said 5 or 6 years to get, to some semblance of like, this works for me, which if I can, let me like, I'm not interviewing you necessarily about your personal life, and I don't want to put you on the spot like that, but let me do it just for a second. So
sure, I'm willing.
Would it be fair to say, because what if I'm trying to channel the average listener who's going, I want to be more healthier, I want to eat better, I want to do this right. The thing that usually works in life when we talk about behavioral change is the pain of one thing has to be great enough that the pain of changing it, because it's a pain in the butt to change stuff, the research, the trial and error, the discipline, that pain, the pain of the thing you're doing that isn't working for you has to be greater than the pain of changing it. Is that probably like with headaches or how you felt? Partly I know you to be a curious person. I know you to be a learner. I know you to kind of be on that journey all the time. But even as you talk about the headaches, I'm going, would you rather have a beer with a slice of pizza and a splitting headache to go with it, or not? And is it fair to say the headache is more of a burden than the eating cleanly, and therefore that helps make your decision? Is that kind of the motivation at the root, kind of reptilian brain of Ken Horst? Is that the motivation for some of these changes?
Yeah, exactly that. When I went through the Whole30, it started as we just were curious. Yes, we want to learn how to eat clean. We want to learn this idea that not all foods agree with all people. Like you said, you're lactose intolerant. My mom's lactose intolerant. There's a whole continent of people that are lactose intolerant. There are whole groups of people who are allergic to nightshades, like green peppers. Like, you have to find what you tolerate well and what you don't tolerate well. And that concept, when I learned about it, was kind of like that driving force of, oh, there might be something in my diet that's making me feel crummy. So let's find it. So one of the actual analogies that the Whole30 uses, which I thought is brilliant, is imagine you live in Northwest Ohio and you have really bad allergies, right? You're a young person, you're in your 20s or maybe your teens, and you're just really bad allergies, and you take medicine for it. You got an inhaler. It's just kind of how you're always kind of just dealing with a stuffy nose and carrying Kleenex with you all the time. And then, but it's just part of life. That's just how you are. But then you go to college over in California, sunny California, and all of a sudden you feel amazing because you took away the thing that you're allergic to. There was something in the Northwest Ohio air, whether it's the wheat, the corn, the trees, the shrubs, the grass, whatever, the pollen, whatever was here, you took away that allergen, and now you feel amazing. That can be true in our diet too. And so you can, if legumes are making you feel sick, but you don't know it, without trying to take that away and then reintroduce, you're not going to know that that's making you feel terrible. So that was my thing about trying the Whole30, and it just happened to be the gluten that was making me feel worse, right?
Yeah.
So taking those headaches away ended up being like a happy accident. So that's why I had described that process of, I took it away for 30 days, added it back, headaches came back. I took it away that's curious. Took it away for another 30 days, tried it again, headaches came back, tried it again for a little bit longer just to make sure, and tried that again. The headaches came back. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better now. I'm sleeping better. That was also a happy accident. I had more energy and my headaches went away. And then that's what really like, oh my gosh, what is in our food that is really making us feel certain ways? And that's when I really, really dug into every book that I could find, whether it was keto
Mm.
or paleo or whatever, plant paradox, whatever book that I could find. I think I read like 10 to 15 nutrition books in 1 year when I was on night shift at St. Luke's one time. But for most people, when I'm talking to them in an ICU, because I'm an ICU nurse, I try to ask them what their diet's like. Like, I try to help them understand like how you got here to the ICU, to the hospital with really bad high blood pressure, with really bad diabetes, with really bad liver disease, whatever the disease may be. I try to educate and gently tell them that your diet is primarily how you got here. You're in metabolic disease.
Mm.
You have eaten your way here. Now you probably maybe have some bad genetics, like your dad, like if you're there with a heart attack, your dad could have had a heart attack in his 50s, whatever. You can't out eat or outrun your genetics, but you can contribute to your disease or to your health with your diet.
Mm. So you've brought us kind of full circle in a way where you started talking about the complexity of a diet itself. I mean, there's so many variables that go into what we eat, how it's processed, and then we kind of worked through it. And so then now you're telling me that as any individual is trying to optimize their own nutritional life, it's really hard to isolate every variable. Like you said, I mean, is it legumes and you didn't realize that it's in this soup, or it's a background element in this dish, or it's something, I got to pull all of those out, but only those things out. And is that I got 75 other variables. So it gets complex again so quickly. So maybe as a way to close, I think the general thrust we've got, I think the general idea of like how important nutrition is to our overall health and how important it is for us to be disciplined feels like a heavy word that people don't like, but it really is. It's disciplined towards that health. The thing maybe to close on is for the person who's listening who goes, this is all, I like everything I'm hearing, but it feels complex or overwhelming.
Yeah.
What is the practical encouragement for me? How do I get started in a simple way? Because we both know the only way to kind of get a mile into the journey is to take a few simple steps. What's the simple way to get me started when I'm feeling overwhelmed by the whole journey ahead of me?
The simplest way to really get your nutrition under control is eating as whole foods as you can. A lot of people make mistakes in that, especially in the new year, in the time that we're in right now. They start going to the gym, they cut their portions in half, they stopped eating a bunch of food that they really like, and they're now eating a bunch of food that they maybe don't like. Like, they're doing all of these things trying to obtain that the goal immediately. Like, I want to lose, like, January 1st, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to have that beach body by by March. And they do all of these things. And you had kind of mentioned earlier, behavior modification, like, that's a lot all at once. And that's what sets people up for failure. Losing weight, especially, is uncomfortable. It is really, really uncomfortable. And it's hard and it takes time. So if your goal is to lose weight, typically what I tell people is to start slow. Start eating as cleanly as possible. That's step one. Because if you're trying to eat clean and count calories or do Weight Watchers, and you're really trying to decrease your calories intake too and trying to lose weight, that's a bunch of stuff to worry about all at once. So eat clean for a week or a month. Eat clean for January. And what do I mean by eat clean? So try to do as much cooking at home as possible. That's step one, right? If you eat out a lot, try to eat at home more, right? Things, and by eating at home, this is what some people will ask me, well, can I just get one of the lean cuisines and just eat those all the time? The microwavable stuff, or the you just throw it in the oven, pre-made stuff. And I don't really like those as much, but just trying to cook as much as you can for yourself, eating fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, and meats and stuff like that. But don't worry about how much you're eating, like portion control. Just get used to the new stuff, the new foods that you're maybe not used to eating.
So step one is that palate reset. Train yourself to desire whole foods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And really try to limit those sugars and those sweets and things, those high calorie things. I always tell people that sugar is not bad for you. It's how much sugar is bad for you.
Yeah.
Like when I've mentioned earlier, I'm a runner. Excuse me. I'm a runner. When I run, I will eat basically just gelled sugar as I'm running, because sugar is one of the best fuels for the body, because it breaks down so quickly and it burns so hot. It provides really quick and easy energy for me when I'm running. So I'll eat a bunch of just basically just fruit snacks while I'm running. But if you eat a bunch of fruit snacks while you're trying to lose weight, or if you're sitting in an office job, that's fuel that you don't necessarily need. So sugar isn't bad for you. It's how we use the sugar, right? High fat stuff is not bad for you. It's just how many calories are in those. Are you trying to keep to around 2,000 calories and you're eating 3 high fat meals a day? That's really putting you at like 2,800 calories a day. But there's no really such thing as a bad food. It's just how you use it. And it's kind of a segue into cheat days.
Yeah.
It's because that one popped in my head, so we're gonna talk about that one real quick. I hate the word cheat days, because you can be in a calorie deficit with your clean eating and everything Monday through Friday. So you got, you're doing well, you're packing your lunches, you're eating really well Monday through Friday. But then Saturday comes around and you're just really hungry, because it is uncomfortable losing weight. You're really hungry. You had a stressful week at work or whatever, and you get to Saturday and you have that ice cream, you have the whole pizza. And if you were 2,000 calories less for the week, for that Monday through Friday, let's say 200 calories every day for 1,000 calorie deficit by Friday, and you eat an extra 1,000 calories on Friday, you're not going to lose any weight that week. And you went through that whole rigmarole of Monday through Friday, eating salads that you might not like, and and then being hungry all the time and trying to get used to that. And then you cheat on the weekend. You did the whole thing for nothing. And so, and when we say cheat days, I mean, you can have pizza, but you just have to know how many calories you're eating of that pizza, right? It's okay to have a slice or two of pizza if it fits kind of within your total daily expenditure. If your calories are supposed to be 2,200 calories for the day, okay, for example, when I count my calories, personally, I burn about 2,350 a day. If I don't exercise, if I don't do anything extra, I usually get about 8,000 steps a day. I'm 6'4", 190, 2,350 a day for my calorie expenditure, total daily calorie expenditure. So if I exercise, there's a little bit more. So if I go for a run, I'll maybe be at 2,700 calories. But like on a Saturday, if I know I've got something coming up, I won't eat a ton for breakfast. I'll eat a lower calorie breakfast and a lower calorie lunch, like say a banana and just a spoonful of peanut butter for breakfast, maybe some cottage cheese and some fruit for lunch, knowing that I'm going to eat some pizza on Saturday night because I got a party to go to. But
Yeah.
I know how much, like if I go to Papa John's or whatever, I can eat half a pizza and that's going to fit within my calorie budget for that day, right? So I'm not cheating. I mean, I am cheating because it's not that whole food, but it's fitting within that calorie expenditure. I'm still going to be okay with my weight. If I'm eating really, really, really clean and then I eat a pizza, I might feel a little groggy, the next day. But you gotta weigh what's worth it for you. Kind of like you were talking earlier with the headaches and kind of how personally it made me feel. Certain foods are going to make you feel certain ways. And so if you if you if it's okay that food makes you feel a certain way, then it's not a bad for you food. You just got to know what it's doing to you,
Hmm.
where it fits within your goals. How's it going to affect you?
Hmm.
Right. So I have a friend who is keto. I mentioned him earlier, and every holiday he eats carbs. So
Yeah.
between like Thanksgiving and New Year's, he's not doing keto, he's eating carbs. But he knows that during those 5 to 6 weeks, he's going to feel a little worse because his body just doesn't process carbs very well. He really, really runs well on that ketogenic diet. He loves it, but he also loves pie, and
Yeah.
he also loves uh, Christmas beer, right? And so he will eat those carbs, knowing that he'll maybe feel like 80% of himself, right? He might not sleep as good. He's not going to gain a bunch of weight because he's still keeping track of how much he's eating. He's not going to eat to excess, but he knows that food isn't necessarily great for him. But it's great for his psyche. It's great for his
Yeah.
mental, that mental part, because food is part of our culture. Food is, the Bible talks a whole bunch about different foods, and they people will gather for different things with food as kind of that centerpiece. So it is cultural. It is part of the family, right? So
Yeah.
saying there are bad foods and you have to stay away from something, I don't like it. I just don't.
That's excellent because there is I mean, this is it's the right kind of coda to the whole conversation, which is to say we are not simply nutritional beings. We're not simply physiological species. We're complex, and part of the
Yeah.
not only is nutrition complex and diet's complex, but we're complex, and so joy and
Yeah.
togetherness and sharing a meal together. So, being lactose intolerant, there are times when I'm like, I will have a slice of pizza and I will pay for the
Right.
slice of pizza, but there's something glorious about a great slice of pizza. And so that's the right kind of way to soften the end of going, look, we're all aiming for something. It's complicated to get there. And we need to recognize that we're not simply calorie machines. We're
Right.
God designed souls and bodies that are complex and have a lot of different needs. And so
Yeah.
this has been super helpful. And I mean, I hope people were taking notes. Maybe go back and listen to it, take notes. There's so much in it.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to find you, is there somewhere that if someone wanted to talk to you more about this or get more insight from you, do you do nutrition coaching with your personal training? Is that something you're doing like professionally on the side as in addition to nursing, or is that just something you did for you?
It was more or less what we did for ourselves. And, my boys were in sports and just trying to instill good habits and good foundational education for them. That's kind of where it started. We eventually do want to get into the professional space. Right now, like I said, I'm a nurse. I'm an ICU nurse and doing that full time. Krista's also working somewhere else. So we're not doing it full time yet, but it's on the, it's on the back burner. But I would
Perfect.
encourage you, if you see me in at church, grab me. I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people. I love nutrition. If something in this podcast like really struck you, or if you've got questions, we had kind of talked about, that if you're getting started, what's the simplest way? And that, if you had some thoughts on that, or if you had some more questions on that, grab me, just talk to me. I would love to talk to you about it. I can give my contact information out on an as needed basis.
Yeah.
But someday I think it'll happen, because it really is just a passion of mine, because I work in an ICU setting. I work with the sickest of the sick right now. In years past, I had worked at a doctor's office and seeing people kind of on the other side of the bed, seeing people in an outpatient, and really being able to talk with them frequently and educate them, and see that education take hold and grow, and people getting better. And I saw that side, and I really, really, really enjoyed that side. So I think God has given me just that spirit, just to see people recognize something that they need to change, and help them get through that. Educate people on you mentioned calories and you mentioned macros, and can you just break that down for me again? Like, what does that really mean? And what are these nutrition labels, that I keep seeing? And what does all this mean? And I would love to talk to you through that, and just help you be a better version of yourself, because it is completely possible with good nutrition, with good knowledge, and just with a good attitude towards that. You can really, really make a difference for how you feel and how you interact with people around you.
I love it. I love the future of the House of Horst Nutritional Education Center. I can't wait.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for educating us, for spending time with us. For you guys that have been tracking along, watching and listening, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to the next Covenant Conversation. So thanks for being with us, and we will talk to you very soon. Covenant Conversations is produced by Jake Trethaway and Robert McMahan. It's recorded at Covenant Church in the beautiful frozen swamp of Bowling Green, Ohio. For more information, visit bgcovenant.org.